She told me to leave my own house in front of my kids on Christmas. My name is Vanessa Cole, and I will never forget the way my son stopped chewing when my mother threw that paper on the table. You have 30 days to leave. Just like that. No warning, no private conversation, no respect. My daughter looked at me confused. Mom, what is that? I didn't answer, because I was still looking at my mother, trying to understand how someone could wait for Christmas dinner to do something like that. She didn't even sit down, just stood there, arms crossed, like she had been rehearsing it. You've stayed long enough, she continued. This house was always temporary for you. Temporary? I had moved back 6 months ago, after my divorce, after losing everything, after choosing survival over pride. And she knew that. My father kept eating, didn't look up, didn't say a word. That part hurt more. I picked up the eviction notice, folded it once, then again, carefully.
Not because it didn't matter, but because it did. I placed it beside my plate and turned to my kids. Finish eating, I said softly. My mother scoffed. You're not even going to respond? I looked at her, calm, steady. No, that confused her, because she expected a reaction, a fight, tears. But I gave her nothing, because in that moment, I made a decision, not to argue, not to beg, to wait. And when New Year's came, I would give her something back. Something she wasn't expecting. Something that would make her go silent. I didn't mention the notice again. Not that night. Not the next day. Nothing. That was the part that bothered her the most. I could see it in the way she watched me, waiting, expecting me to break. Have you started looking for a place? She asked casually 2 days later, like she was discussing groceries. No, I said, her eyebrows lifted. You only have a few weeks. I know. That was it. No panic. No urgency, just calm. My father finally looked at me then, like he was trying to figure something out, but he didn't ask. He never did. At night, when the house went quiet, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open, not searching for apartments, reviewing documents, old files, things I hadn't looked at in years, things my parents thought I forgot or never understood. The house, the land, the ownership. My name wasn't there, but something else was. A transfer clause, a condition, one that hadn't been triggered yet. Until now. I leaned back, slowly, reading it again. Then once more, making sure. Because if I was right, this wasn't just a house, it was leverage. And they had just forced the condition into motion. I closed the laptop and looked around the kitchen. Same table, same walls, same people walking past me like I didn't belong. Temporary. That word again. I picked up my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. The lawyer who handled everything. He answered on the second ring. Vanessa? It's time, I said, and across the room, my mother had no idea what she had just started. Are you sure? The lawyer asked. Yes. No hesitation, because I had already read the clause 3 times, and every time, it said the same thing. If I was formally removed from the residence, ownership control shifted, not to my parents. To me. They never explained that part. They assumed I wouldn't understand it. Or worse, that I'd never need it. Then we proceed, he said. I'll prepare everything. Do it quietly. Of course. I ended the call and looked up. My mother was watching me again. You're very calm for someone getting evicted, she said. I held her gaze. I'm not worried. She smiled. That same confident smile. You should be. I almost smiled back. Almost. But I didn't, because she still thought she was in control. That night, I packed. Not everything. Just enough. Clothes, documents, essentials. My kids watched me quietly. Are we leaving? My son asked. Yes. Where are we going? I zipped the bag slowly. Somewhere better, he nodded. Didn't ask more. Kids understand more than adults think. The next morning, I left before anyone woke up. No goodbye, no confrontation, just gone. That's when my mother thought she had won. She walked into my empty room and probably felt relief, control, finality. What she didn't know was that the moment I stepped out of that house, The clause activated, and legally, everything had just shifted. Not emotionally, not symbolically, legally. And now, it wasn't her house anymore. She found out 3 days later. Not from me, from a letter. Official. Stamped. Delivered to her front door. I wasn't there when it arrived, but I knew exactly how it happened. She opened it casually at first, probably thinking it was routine, bills, notices, something small. Then she read the first line, and everything changed because by the time she reached the second paragraph, she wasn't smiling anymore. Transfer of residential control. Triggered under clause. Primary authority reassigned to Vanessa Cole. My name, not hers, not my father's, mine. I was in a small rental apartment across town when my phone started ringing. Once, twice, 5 times, 10. I didn't answer, because this wasn't a conversation, it was a result. Eventually, she left a message. What is this? Her voice snapped. Vanessa, what did you do? I listened to it once, then deleted it, because I didn't do anything. She did. That night, she called again. And this time, I answered. You need to explain this, she said immediately. No, I replied calmly. You already have the explanation. This is my house. I let that sit for a second. Then said the one thing she wasn't ready to hear. Not anymore. Silence. Heavy. Because now the roles had changed. Completely. And for the first time in her life, she wasn't the one deciding who stayed and who left. You're lying, she said. Not loudly, not angrily. Just refusing. Because that's what people do when control slips. They reject reality first. I'm not, I replied. You don't even understand those documents, she snapped. You've always depended on us for things like this. Always. Past tense. I let that sit, then answered. That's why you never explained them. Silence. Because that was true. My father's voice came in from the background. What's going on? She didn't answer him. She was still focused on me. You think you can just take this house? She said. After everything we've done for you? There it was again. That sentence. The one that sounds like support, but feels like control. I didn't take anything, I said calmly. You forced me out. Her breathing changed. Sharper now, more unstable. That was temporary, she said quickly. You overreacted. Temporary, just like before. But now the word didn't work anymore. You gave me a deadline, I replied. 30 days. You left in 3. Yes. That's when it clicked for her. I could hear it. The shift. You planned this, she whispered. I didn't answer, because the truth was simpler. I didn't plan it. I just understood it. My father took the phone then. Vanessa, he said, calmer but heavier. We need to talk about this properly. Properly. Now. Not at Christmas. Not in front of my kids. Now. No, I said. One word. Clean. Final. Because the conversation they wanted was already too late. They showed up at my apartment the next day. Of course they did. People who lose control don't wait. They come looking for it. The knock wasn't polite. It was sharp. Repeated. My kids were in the other room. I opened the door just enough to see them. My mother stepped forward immediately. We need to fix this, she said. Not talk. Fix. Like I was still the mistake. There's nothing to fix, I replied. Her expression tightened. You don't understand the consequences of what you've done. I held her gaze. I understand them perfectly. My father stood slightly behind her, quieter than usual, but watching everything, calculating. This isn't how family handles things, he said. I almost smiled. Christmas wasn't either. That landed hard. My mother tried again, softer now. Vanessa, you've made your point. You don't have to go this far. That word again, far, like I crossed a line. Not them. I didn't go anywhere, I said calmly. You pushed me. Silence. Because they both knew that part was true. My father exhaled slowly. So, what happens now? Finally. A real question. I stepped back slightly, but didn't open the door wider. Now? I said. I looked at both of them. Really looked. For the first time, they weren't in control. They were waiting. For now, I said, you stay where you are. Confusion, relief, mixed together. Then I added, but not for long, and closed the door. Because the next step was already in motion. They didn't believe me at first. Of course they didn't. People like them never think consequences actually arrive. They think everything is negotiable, delayable, avoidable, until it isn't. 5 days later, the second notice was delivered. Not just a transfer confirmation, a vacate order, legal, enforced, final. That's when the call started again, this time different. No anger, no control, just urgency. Vanessa, pick up. Please, we need to talk. Don't do this. I let them ring, because now they were asking, and that was new. On the 6th day, my father left a voicemail. His voice was lower than I'd ever heard it. We didn't think you'd actually go through with it. There it was. The truth. Not apology, not regret, just surprise. They underestimated me. I listened to the message once, then deleted it. Because I didn't need to hold on to it. By the 7th day, they were packing. I didn't go back to watch. I didn't need to see it. I had already seen enough. The Christmas dinner, the paper on the table, my kids watching. That was enough. Everything after that was just consequence, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't the one adjusting. They were. They left on the 8th day. No calls, no goodbye, no explanation, just gone. The same way they expected me to leave, quietly, without resistance, without a voice. I went back a week later, not immediately. I wanted the house to settle. To breathe. When I opened the door, it felt different. Not bigger, not newer. Just mine. No tension in the walls. No expectations hanging in the air. No voices deciding where I belonged. Just silence. Clean. I walked into the dining room. The same table. The same place where it all started. Where my mother threw that paper in front of my kids. Where she decided my place. I stood there for a moment. Then sat down. Not as a guest, not as someone temporary, as the owner. That word finally felt real. On New Year's, I didn't go to them. I didn't knock. I didn't argue. I left a gift at their door. Simple box. No message. Inside, a framed copy of the eviction notice. The same one she threw at me, but this time, with one line added underneath. 30 days is generous. I gave you 8. When she opened it, she didn't call. She didn't argue. She went silent. Because for the first time, she understood exactly what she had done. And exactly what it cost her. And me? I didn't celebrate. I didn't feel revenge, just clarity. Because sometimes the moment someone tries to remove you from your place is the moment you realize it was yours all along.